understanding. The third house is the house of communication and information, and it represents how you speak, learn, and work with your surroundings. And so, in this video, I am going to be breaking down the third house in astrology, the house of communication. And so, if you are new to me, to the channel, to any of my content here in social media land, my name is Kay Catrice. I am the Natal Chart Navigator. I am an intuitive energy reader, and I am your professor here on Understanding You University. And I help open minded women to understand who they are energetically so that they can attract to them the life of their dreams by using the energies that they were born with. And so I'm going to go ahead and jump into, the third house, okay? And so the third house in astrology rules communication, thought processes, short distance travel, transportation, and our relationship with our siblings and our neighbors. Okay. Um, and so all of these parts of life, they all are how we relate to our immediate environment. Okay. First and foremost, this involves how we take in information and how we, give information. Okay. So the third house in the birth chart is the natural ruling house, is the natural house of Gemini. Okay, the Gemini is the sign that naturally sits on this house. Gemini energy best corresponds with the area of life that this is. Okay, now the ruling planet of Gemini is Mercury. Okay, and so when you look at your chart, okay, the zodiac sign that is on this house, okay, plus any planets that you have in this house, if you have any planets. That is how the contents of this house will be expressed in your life. Okay. And so themes of the third house include communication, information, mental activity, local places and travel, learning, siblings, and neighbors. Okay. And so, after your sense of self is established and solidified in the first and second houses, now it's time to go out into the world, okay, out into your environment. And so, the third house represents the things that are near to us and how our brains understand them, okay. And so, learning is the first thing that comes up when you talk about the third house because third house also rules. Early education, like your lower education up until high school. Okay. And so this is the place where we process information, ideas, and language. Now, the zodiac sign here on this house, it speaks to your mental framework. Okay. So if you have Virgo in the third house, you probably didn't miss any letters in the spelling bee competition. You're probably super duper smart, you know. Hey, Virgos. Oh, Virgo. Okay, and so now if you have Aquarius here on the third house, then a typical classroom setting probably is not going to work for you. Okay, because those energy, they're just two different energies, right? Um, Virgo is more of a practical energy, and Aquarius is all mental and it's does its own thing, right? And so, in order to process information, you have to interpret the words that people are saying. And so, communication is paramount in the third house because that is one of the most direct ways that we connect with the people around us. Okay. And so, your style of both written and spoken expression is laid out here. Okay. Whether you prefer small talk or having long heart to hearts, the third house is where you would go to see that, right? So for me, um, because I use my life to show you how astrology works in real life. Okay. So for me, I have Mercury. So Mercury feels very comfortable at home here in the third house, okay? Because it's natural, it rules this house. I have Libra on that. So that's a fellow air sign of Gemini. So Mercury is very comfortable in Libra here in the third house. Okay. But I also have Saturn, the planet of restriction and discipline. And then I have Pluto, planet of transformation. I have all of that here in the third house. Okay. I am not somebody who wants to sit around and have small talk. Okay. I love people. I love talking to people, but I don't want to have small talk. Like I need some meaningful conversation. Okay. I don't care what your favorite color is. And it's not that I don't care like ugh whatever. No, it's just that's not I don't that's like trivial stuff. Like I want to talk about stuff that's more meaningful, that's more, impactful, right? Because with Saturn here, you know, it makes my communication style a little more serious than it would be if Saturn was not here. If Saturn wasn't here, I might want to talk about your favorite color, you know, right? Because Libra is all about, beauty and aesthetics. And so your favorite color might be important to me. With Saturn here, unless we're having that conversation, where we need to be talking about colors, I don't really care about your favorite color, all right? So if you have Saturn in the third house, comment below. Let me know if you have Saturn in the third house, okay? And so, since we are most influenced by those closest to us, the local community is also represented here in the third house. Okay, so this includes your siblings, your neighbors, your neighborhoods. It also includes like your cousins, your aunties, your uncles. Um, the third house also rules short trips and transportation as well. So, traveling in a car, bus, bike, plane is how we bring ourselves closer to those in our environment. Okay. This is the communication axis. The ninth house, which is the opposite this house, is Sagittarius, and that is, all about our beliefs and things that which influence our communication. Okay. And so now we're going to jump into the planets in the third house. If you have any planets in the third house, okay. Now another thing, if you're looking at this for you, or if you're advanced enough to where you can now start looking at your children's charts. Um, if you have some type of any type of mental like speech impediments or anything mental going on, or speech communication wise I should say, going on with yourself or your child, the third house is definitely where you want to start to look for those things. Okay. And so, if you have any planets in your third house, um, like I just told you guys about myself, you can be sure that they're going to sprinkle their flavor in, okay? The planets here will affect your learning habits, your communication style, and your mental framework, okay? And so, if you have your sun here in the third house, you may be a bit of a social butterfly because Gemini energy is very social, okay? So, you'll probably love meeting new people and sharing ideas, and they likely admire your writing or speaking skills. Just you got to work on not getting caught up in the gossip, because you can get caught up in gossip because you just like talking so much. Now, if you have the moon here, the moon is now the sun is who you are at your core. Okay, the moon is your emotional temperament, and so you probably don't have a top problem talking about your feelings. However, there may be a tendency to intellectualize your emotions rather than to feel them, because air energy processes things through the mind. Okay, and if it doesn't make sense to them, then it's a feeling that they're not going to worry about. They'll just push it aside until they can make sense of it mentally. Okay. And so, and it doesn't matter what sign is on the house. Well, yeah, it doesn't matter because it's gonna process it through. Um, I shouldn't say it don't matter because it does matter. But when the moon is here, it's gonna have a flare of Gemini to it because this is Gemini's natural house. Okay. So even if you have, say, Aries on this house, your emotional temperament, if your moon is here, your emotional temperament, you're gonna be a hothead still, but you may process things mentally a little more than, say, if you had Aries, if it was in the first house and your moon was in the first house, you wouldn't think things through. You would just be boom, go, and then think later. Okay. Now, if you have Mercury here, Mercury is at home in the third house, and so you may come across as a little scattered. Your brain is likely just doing calisthenics. So, learning new concepts and expressing your ideas is an ideal workout for you. Now, again, I'm not as scattered as some other Mercuries that I've seen, because of Saturn being here, my mental process is a little more disciplined. Thank God. But Mercury is at home here. Mercury is the fastest moving planet. So especially like if you have Mercury in Gemini, oh man, your mind all over the dang place. Now, if you have Venus here, okay, whether you're you know, your words are more charming, okay? So you could be a poet or you could just be a smooth talker, right? But charming words come naturally to you. And an intellectual connection is at the top of your list when it comes to finding an ideal partner. And again, um, you know, doesn't matter what sign is on the house, intellectual connection is going to be at the top of the list for you when it comes to finding your ideal partner. Okay. Now, if you have Mars here, Mars is your action, it's the action planet. Okay. It's your will, your desire. And so, with your Mars here, um, your keen curiosity makes you knowledgeable about many things and eager to share them with others. When it comes to conflict, your words can serve as both your armor and your sword. Okay. Now, if you have Jupiter here, Jupiter is the great benefic. And so, no philosophy or theory is too complex for you. Your ability to see the bigger picture helps you to stay positive and well liked by others. Okay. And so, if you have Saturn here, it makes your communication more serious. Okay. And it can come off a little cold. But you have to learn to keep your pessimism in check because the glass isn't always half empty. Now, Saturn works better in some signs than others, as in all the planets do. It does work better. It works really well in Libra. It is exalted in Libra. So if you have Saturn in Libra, um, it works really, really well. And I really like having Saturn in Libra, to be honest. I really like because Libra is kind of like people pleasing energy, and I'm not a people pleaser at all, especially with like that hella Sagittarius energy that I have. So yeah, I'm not a people pleaser at all. But Saturn really helps when it comes to that communication helps to keep my communication balanced. I really really like it having Saturn here. Now Uranus, if you have Uranus, that's the planet of rebellion, shock, and so boredom might just be your worst enemy. You like to think outside the box and you thrive in environments where your unconventional mind can run free. Okay. And if you have Neptune here, planet of illusion and delusion, your active imagination makes you more of a visual learner. You have an artistic mind and you could be able to even read the minds of others. Okay, so if you feel like you have some type of psychic ability or something like that, the first place you want to look is to see your Neptune placement. Where's your Neptune placement? Because Neptune is strongly connected to the psychic realm that is very spiritual. So check to see where your Neptune placement is. And if you have Neptune here in the third house, like with a water sign, like say you have Pisces here and you have Neptune here, yes, yes, yes. I've seen that in some charts, and those, yeah, very, very psychic. Like they can like read your minds almost. um, if you have Pluto here in the third house, um, Pluto is the planet of transformation, death, reverse transformation. And so your soul finds its emotional security by intellectually understanding the world around you. Okay. So you're being asked to transcend the limits of your rational mind and open your intuitive faculty. So your soul in this lifetime wants you to, use your intuition. In order to help to fulfill whatever soul purpose you came here to fulfill. Now, if you have Chiron here in the third house. Okay. Chiron is the your wound, the soul wound that you come here with. And so you have a fear of rejection for expressing your thoughts. Wait, so you have a fear of rejection. Okay. Um, and Chiron, a fear of rejection is not just here in the third house, it can be in other houses as well. But for you, you have a fear of rejection in expressing your thoughts and ideas. And so that can make communication difficult for you. I've seen this play out in real life. Um, if you have um, if you have a child and they have an issue with expressing themselves, um, encourage them to um, encourage them to speak up for themselves. Encourage them not to be afraid to say what they feel or what they think. Okay, this could come from early wounds of feeling misunderstood, especially if they have siblings. Um, and the sign that's on this house can really make it worse. I won't say worse. It can make it a little more difficult. Some signs can make this manifest a little more difficultly than others, but you really have to uh, prompt your children and encourage them to speak their truth. And if they have like a speech impediment or something like that, get them into some type of speech classes or something to help them to learn to be able to speak more clearly so that people can understand them. This is a wound that can, if you can catch this early, when you're a child, it's a little more easier to start molding and healing than if you're an adult. But either way, it can be healed. You just got to be diligent about healing it. Okay, and then your north node. Okay, that's your soul's purpose. And so you have a tendency to hold on to your beliefs without entertaining any facts. Um, that needs to shift. Okay, uh, so you came here to not be so dogmatic in your beliefs and so like concrete in your beliefs. um you need to listen to others. You need to gain perspective and different insights from others so that it can help you to be able to you know, look at your beliefs and see, are your beliefs, really the truth? Because honestly, all a belief is what you keep thinking, something that you keep thinking over and over and over again. And then because you keep thinking it over and over and over again, you start to, call in evidence of that which you are thinking over and over and over again. And so then because you're seeing it in your 3D reality, now you're like, oh my gosh, I guess this is true. I believe that. You see how that works? So, listen and integrate other points of view. You may be a really skilled writer or teacher if you have your North Node here. So that's why you want to take in other points of views because, you may be here to teach other people about beliefs or to teach other people about whatever subject. But you can't be so dogmatic in yours because there's always, there's more than one way to skin a cat, as my mama used to say. And so if you have your South Node here in the third house, um, and your attachment to logic may have been dominated in your past. And so in this lifetime, you are to listen to your intuition, okay? And then when you do, you may be inspired to start teaching and sharing the knowledge that, you are getting, the downloads that you are getting, okay? And so when you have any transits, in the third house, so when things are transiting, so say you have, like right now we're in Libra, and so, Mercury and Venus and the Sun are all transiting um, the sign of Libra. So wherever you have it at, um, that's where they're going to be transited at. That's the area of life that's going to be affected in your life. Now, for me, it's my third house. Libra is my third house. So all of these transits are going to be affecting my third house, right? And so when a planet is currently moving through the third house of your chart, this may add more flavor to the conversations or change the way that you think, and that just depends on the specific planet in transit. So if you have Saturn transiting this house, you may have some misunderstandings, or you may run into a roadblock with your transportation, or you may feel empowered to have a serious conversation with somebody about something. Now, if it's Pluto transit in your third house, you might experience a profound shift in the way that you communicate your ideas, or some difficult information may, could come up for you that you need to process, and you're like, oh my gosh, what do I do with this? Right? So, just depending upon the planet, you know, that's transiting, it depends on what you get, okay? And then it also depends on what's going on in your life at that time, where you are on your soul's journey, all right? And so, keeping an eye out for on the planetary movements, not just in your third house, but just in general, just so you know how they're going to be affecting you, depending on the area of life that it's going to be affecting and illuminating in your chart. It can help to keep you in the game, help you to avoid mishaps and keep your head in the game, okay? And so the third house holds the key to your communication, okay? And so when we get to the fourth house in the next video, fourth house is going to be talking about the home and family. And so you definitely want to stay tuned for that one. And so I hope you found value in this video. If you did, please do give it a like and also subscribe and click the bell so that you get notifications every time I upload a new video to the channel or I go live. And also, if you would like to work with me, all the information to work with me is in the description box below. If you want to book a reading, you can book readings with me. Just click the calendar link to book. Or if you already have your chart, you may have gotten a reading from somebody, but you weren't allowed to answer questions. You just got a reading and you have questions. You can also book a chart consult with me, so that I can, look at your chart and answer any questions that you may have. Now, included in the readings, you get the reading. It's a recorded reading on Zoom. You also get a PDF of well, it's a Google Doc of your life path, an interpretation of your life path. You also get a hour session with me in order to ask any questions and get any clarification on your chart reading. Okay, so I hope you found this video valuable. And remember that possibilities are endless. If you can see it in your mind, then you can hold it in your hand, and that should make you smile because you really do create your own reality. Have a good one.